careful not to extend it to make it long, but wouldn't be too long, but it to be easy for everybody to understand. So we have done an introduction into risk management, and I talked about the various models that we're going to cover in terms of the areas that we actually do on the work, right? So today we're going to start how security risk management is performed within the federal environment. So that is what we're going to start. So we're going to start with the first phase called categorization. But before that, let's get some basic information about the, FISMA, or the Federal Information Security Management Act. So the FISMA, we popularly call it FISMA. So this is a legislative that was passed by the U.S. federal government. And the main objective for this legislative was that any application, right, when we talk about application, so example of application is WhatsApp, or the WebEx we are using tonight, or Zoom, or maybe application that processes people's benefits, financial information, right? So any application or a system that will run within the federal environment, it must go through the risk management framework, or the FISMA, Federal Information Security Management Act. So that is why the act was passed. And they have an office called OMB, right? And the OMB is responsible for the FISMA compliance. So any federal entity must comply with the FISMA law, and OMB make sure that federal institutions are compliant. I seem to be breaking. Oh, sorry, it could be the internet. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. It could be the internet. Okay. So this is just an information, so it's not anything they're going to ask you. I just want you to understand it very well, so that when you're doing the risk management, you have information about that. So Abby, it could be that you should check your internet, because I have almost everybody says they can hear me, so check your internet. Okay, thank you. So the directive on FISMA is found here at 10. So check your settings. It could be the better way is to restart your PC. Sometimes it's like that. Or when you are connecting, check you are connecting with your computer audio, right? You can restart. You can go sign out and sign in. It will work because everybody can hear me. Okay. So the directive is on FISMA is found in OMB circular A130. So, and OMB also developed a unit called the National Institute of Standard Technology, NIST, right? They developed National Institute of Technology, called NIST. And this agency, right, their work was to come out with a process or a standard, right, that these federal institutions can follow to be in compliance with the law, right? So you cannot say that you have come out with a law, people should comply without any guidance. So NIST, their work was to develop and apply technology, measurement, and standards, industrial standard, where everybody or every federal institution can follow and be in compliance with the law. So the NIST has developed a risk management framework, right, called RMS. So you hear a lot about RMS, and to help comply with the law, like I said. So they came up with 6 areas. So the RMS has 6 areas. The first one is 6 phases, right? 6 phases. The first phase is called categorization. The second phase is control selection. Third phase is control implementation. Fourth phase is control assessment. Some literature call this phase control testing. When you see control assessment, control testing is the same. Authorization and continuous monitoring. So these are the 6 phases in the risk management framework. So initially, it used to be called security assessment and authorization when they started this compliance or the law. So it used to be also called, currently it's called security assessment and authorization, SANA. So when you are looking for jobs, you may look for SANA, security assessment and authorization. But previously, it used to be called certification and accreditation. So, and it's still being used. So some job descriptions, they say they are looking for certification and accreditation. And that model had only 4 phases: initial, certification, accreditation, and continuous monitoring. That is phased out. So the current one has 6 phases. 6 phases. So these are the phases, right? It is cycle. The phase is a cycle. The risk management framework is a cycle. It is not a straight path, but it is a cycle. It starts with categorization, then you continue to control selection, control assessment or testing, control implementation, assessment or testing, authorization, continuous monitoring, then you start the cycle again. So that is the 6 phases in the risk management framework. In some documents, they talk about 7 phases. 7 phases because they add the planning stage to it. There's a planning stage, but that phase is mostly handled by the senior executives or the leaders or the system owners. We are not directly involved in the planning phase. But the main phases that we are actively involved is starting from categorization. So that is what we're going to start today. Today we're going to do step 1 and step 2. It is very, very easy, straightforward, and people are getting 6 figures from this. I have had a student that we finished the course. When we finished Friday, was like when we finished, let's say we finished the last day in the training on Friday, we finished Saturday. The following Friday, she got 2 offers at this area. So it's not difficult at all. You just have to follow the processes and do your best to practice what I'll give you. It's very, very straightforward, and there are lots of jobs in this area as well. So we are starting with the categorization. That is the phase 1. I'll just go through briefly, and we'll go into the practical aspect, what it is done. So I'm not going to spend that much time because the theory can be a little bit confusing, but I'll just run through this, then I'll explain in the practical mode. When we are doing the practical side of it, I'll explain it into detail. So the Federal Information System are categorized based on the information the system process store or transmit, right? Information system is systems are categorized based on the system, the information the system process, store, or transmit. That is the first point. Information processed, stored, or transmitted by the system is classified based on the impact level. Right? When we're doing the risk management, we talked about impact level, where we said it can be low, moderate, or high. Right? So this categorization can be classified based on that. As far as the security objectives, remember the core security principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I'll explain that. So just be with me. So the highest impact level, either low, moderate, or high, of the CIA, that is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, becomes the overall classification of the system. That is what we call higher watermark, or the highest watermark. Systems are categorized on the information type. And NIST also came out with publication. Remember, I said NIST was to provide guidance so that federal institutions can comply with the law, right? So NIST has a document called NIST SP, means Special Publication 860 Revision 1, Volume 2. It contains all the information types that are processed, stored, or transmitted within the federal environment. And they also have a document called FIPS 199. FIPS 199 talks about the security objectives. So we are going to open those documents and look at them before we start the session. So all these documents are online, free of charge. You don't need to pay to have access to them. So I'm sharing my online. So first, let's search for, I'm going to Google NIST 800 60 volume 2, right? Revision 1, volume 2. So you can see my screen. Is it bigger? Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's better now. Thank you.
Okay, good. So you see National Institute of Standard Technology. So when you click on this, it takes you to their website, right? And you go to the local download. This will give you the PDF version of the whole document. So this is the volume 2. It said a guide for mapping types of information and information systems to security categories, right? So it's a huge document. We are going to use it for our categorization. So here, when you open, you can see the table of contents has all the information types listed here. Good. And we also talked about FIPS 199, where we said it talks about security objectives, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and its impact. So let's search for that document as well. I'm going to Google it. So just FIPS 199, right? FIPS 199. So you click on that and you're able to get the PDF straight, right? So this is a FIPS 199. But this document is just about 13 pages, right? All that this document is saying that it gives a formula, right? It's a categorization of information system. It gives a formula, and the formula is very, very straight. Let me make this one bigger for those of us who are finding it difficult. All they say is that for potential impact on organization and individual, right? First, you look for any information type, you look for the potential impact, right? Either low, moderate, or high. So it gives a formula. So the formula is security category, right? That is for the information type is equal to confidentiality and its impact, integrity and its impact, availability and its impact. That is all that we need for this publication. If you want to read, that is fine, but it doesn't speak. I mean, it doesn't talk so much anything different from what we need here from the formula, right? All that it says that anytime you take an information system, like let's say an information system administrative information, the confidentiality is low, integrity is low, availability is low. But how will you get this information type? You can get that information type only from the 800/6. All the information types are here, right? So let's say here it gives like administrative information. So let's go and search for administrative information from that document. Let's see that whether the confidentiality is low, integrity is low, availability is low. So let's come here. We can, let me make this one a little bit big, right? You can search when you can search through document. Just use control, right? On your laptop, you have CTRL. Press it Control F. It gives you opportunity to search for something. So I just copied that administrative information, right? I can put it here, right? And search for it. So it took me to some information. I can continue to search for it. And anyway, I don't find it here. Okay. By the way, it's not here. But information, all the information types are here, right? So the easiest way that you can do is to use the table of contents. It makes it very, very easy, right? Let's say table of contents. Let me click on one of them. Table of contents. So when you come here, let's say a system will process an information type that is called corrective action information type, right? When you click on the table of contents, it takes you straight to that information type. So the information type is corrective action information type. And you can see the formula over here. According to the FIPS 199, right? Security, the formula is, let me go back to the formula that's up here. Good. The formula is the security category, right, which is the information type. It's equal to confidentiality and its impact, integrity, impact, availability, and its impact. So when you come here, you see the security category here. That is a corrective action plan information type. Per the research that they have done, they said that any information or system that processes the corrective action information type, that system, its confidentiality is low, its integrity is low, and its availability is low. Simple as that. So We are going to practice some. So we are going to assume, let me share another screen. So please bear with me. I'll be flipping through screen. So bear with me and follow with me, right? It's very, very easy. So let's say you've been given a system. You get a job within the federal environment. And they are saying that you are going to manage a system that processes benefits, or it's a benefit system, right? And the system owner will give you the information type. Remember, we learned about system owner, right? We learned about who a system owner is. The person who is in charge of the people, the processes, and the technology. So let's say it's a benefit. The system owner is somebody who owns the people who work on that system or that application. The technology that is being used for that application, the system owner is in charge, right? And the hardware or the processes involved, the system owner is in charge. So the system owner is going to provide you the information type. So we are assuming, right? The system that we are going to work as security analyst is called benefit system. And the system owner has given us a couple of information types that will be processed in this benefit system. So all that we do is that we can create this table. You can use this formula anywhere to get job when you are being asked, right? You just put in the information type that the system owner will give you, put them in here, right? Then you go into the publication, right? So let's say the first one is corrective action plan, right? So you just go into the publication, corrective action plan, which is here. Go to the NIST 800-60. You look for the formula. NIST, confidentiality is low, integrity is low, availability is low. All that you can do, you do is come here, you put the impact here, that is low, low, and low. The next one is budget execution. So let's say the system owner gives you a system and says the system will be processing, storing, or transmitting budget execution information type. So you come here, right? Another way to do is to search. Either you go to the table of contents, or you can do control search. Put the name of the system here, right? And it will take you there. The first one will come. That is the table of contents. Click on that, and it takes you straight to where you can find budget execution information type. Just below it, you see the security category. Confidentiality, low. Integrity, low. Availability, low. Right? So you come here, you put it in your table. Low, low, low. Good. The next one is contingency planning. So let's go and search for contingency planning information type. Come to the publication, put it in there, and type in contingency planning. See, it pops up. Click on that, then look for contingency planning. So that is contingency planning information type. The formula is here. Confidentiality is moderate. Integrity, moderate. Availability, moderate. Right? So you're going to fill in your notes with what? Moderate, moderate, and moderate. Because That is what NIST recommends. Moderate for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Good. Let's move on to the next one. Debt collection, information type. So let's copy that one as well. Debt collection. Debt collection, let's look for it over here. Debt collection comes up here, information type. So we can see debt collection, information type. The formula is here, right? Confidentiality is moderate, integrity is low, availability is low. So we have moderate, low, low, right? So moderate, low, and low. Good. Now we have another one here that is taxation management. Taxation management. Let's go and search for a security category, taxation management. So I copy it and I put it in my search button and I have it here, taxation management. So taxation management information type. The security category, confidentiality is moderate, integrity is low, availability is low. So we have moderate, low, and low, right? So let's put it in our formula. Moderate, low, and low. Good. So now we are done with the information type, right? All the information type has been filled. But we need to look for the watermark, right? What is the watermark for this? So what are you going to do? What you're going to do is that you look through the confidentiality. What will be the highest impact, right? That can affect the confidentiality of the system. So we know we have moderate, low, moderate, high. And what we have seen over here, what will be, you look at it, what will be the highest impact to the confidentiality of the system that processes benefits? I thought it might, oh, Vincent.
Yes. I'm trying to ask, what are we trying to solve here? I wasn't following.
Your question, you answer yourself, then you are not following.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just try to follow with me. We are trying to categorize a system, right?
Yeah.
Are you on from the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I talked about that federal system, right, goes through risk management framework for FISMA, right, or RMF.
Mm-hmm.
And first is categorization. So what we try to categorize, what we are trying to do is to understand how to categorize an information system. And this information system that we have here is called benefit processing. It's an information system that runs within the federal environment that processes workers' benefits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this has given us two publications. One is um, 860, volume 2. Another one is FIPS 199. So FIPS 199 gives the formula that any information type that you take for a security category, you need to find its confidentiality and its impact, integrity and its impact, availability and its impact. So that is what we selected for all these information types by following the next publication. So the last one that we did was on taxation management information type. And the formula is telling us that confidentiality is moderate, integrity is low, availability is low. So we just copy the impact and put it in the formula that the table we created over here. You can see taxation, moderate, integrity low, then availability low. Are you following now?
Yes. So
Okay.
we are dealing with the formula. That's what we have to put on the table.
Exactly. Exactly. You are not going to do anything. All that you are looking for is if the information type is like taxation, you go to the publication, what is taxation information type? They're giving you there already. Confidentiality, they said it's moderate, integrity low, availability low. So you just come and put it in your table. Moderate, low, low. That's it. And I was asking that what would be the impact for the confidentiality of this system? This is the confidentiality. So Abby, I'll call Abby. Abby T.
Be the contingency planning.
Abby, your voice is very faint.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but it's very faint, like you're far away from your PC.
Okay, is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now, yeah.
Okay, so I was saying contingency planning, since all the risk is moderate, if we are looking at the one with the highest risk.
Okay, that is Abby's suggestion. But here we are not looking at the information type. We are only interested in the impact, right? So looking at, we have low and moderate. What would be the highest impact, right? That's what we're looking for. Okay, today my this thing is good for the ladies. Rose.
Is moderate.
It's moderate. And the question is, why is it moderate? Thank you, Rose. Why is it moderate? Is it because moderate appears 3 times?
I think it's moderate because moderate is the higher impact in confidentiality.
That is correct. So moderate is the highest impact when it comes to under the confidentiality, right? Now let's look at the integrity. What would be the highest impact that can affect the integrity of the system based on what we have here?
Alex, I'm trying to ask a question.
Okay, Charles.
Yes. This classification, is it a universal, like assuming I'm working in one federal parastatal and then I go to another parastatal, this classification, will it be universal? That is what it is, or
As
a
long
particular
as
situation?
as long as it's a federal organization, they have to follow this. They all follow. Right? The FISMA is for federal.
Okay.
It is not for private. So what we are doing is federal environment, Department of Labor, Department of Agriculture, Department of Transportation, Department of Defense, Veteran Affairs. Those federal environments, they all follow the same process.
So, assuming I'm working on the table and I know that the impact on, let's say, debt collection is moderate. So I don't need to go because I know it already. That's what I'm asking. So is this something that maybe that is universal?
Not, thank you. It's not what you know, but it's what the next publication is saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That publication, that's why I asked, is this publication constant at any federal parastatal?
Exactly. All the federal environments, they use the same publication.
Okay.
Good.
All right. No problem.
Thank you. So, so what will be the integrity impact? The overall, the impact integrity, Isaac?
The integrity is going to be moderate because, like the other guy asked a question about the impact, right? We are looking at what is my risk level, because if you are dealing with a system or you are dealing with a
good. Do we all agree
what do you call
Isaac,
a
that
system?
is good to be moderate?
No, I said low.
Oh, you said low.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, just like what you said, like in the confidentiality, the moderate comes more. Because if you take average of both the low and moderate, find out that low is the more.
Low appears 2, 3, 4 times, right? So
Yes.
it should be low. Okay. So the answer is moderate. We are not looking at the number of times that other impact levels appear. But like Isaac said, right, we are looking at the risk level, right? The highest risk impact level. So the highest impact is going to be moderate, but not the number of times low appear. So the answer is moderate. What about availability?
Mr. Nati, can I say something quick?
Excuse me.
Come again, Isaac.
I said, can I say something quick?
Okay.
When you are dealing like Mr. Nati was saying, when you are dealing with systems, we are looking at what is my highest tolerance in terms of security. We are looking at what is my vulnerable highest point. So with this system that basically they gave, we are looking at what is my highest vulnerability or a limit that basically which they gave low and moderate. So that's where we sit right now. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah. So we are looking at the impact, right? If my system should get compromised, right? Is the compromise going to affect me? Like, is the impact is going to be low that I'm not going to be affected, or is going to be moderate? So in this case, right, it's moderate. Availability. Is Vincent your hand up? Sorry, Vincent, I see your hand up. Availability.
Availability should be low.
The availability should be low.
Yeah.
Why, Vincent? Okay, let me give you some time to
Let me
think
help you
about
here.
it.
Yeah.
Again, Vincent.
Yeah. Can you help me out?
Okay, very good. Okay, let's try. Osman has his hand up. Osman.
Yes, availability is going to be moderate because moderate is going to be the highest level of impact as far as availability is concerned.
Correct. Correct. So Vincent,
Yes.
Osman is correct. You don't look at the number of times that are in, even though low appears 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't look at that, right? We look at the highest impact that affects the availability of the system, right? And that is moderate. Moderate is high.
So,
Excuse me.
yeah,
How do we
okay.
come to the conclusion that moderate is the highest impact?
Exactly. That's what I want to ask as well.
So that's what we are saying, that when a system, let me give an example, right? You have a phone, this phone, okay?
Yeah.
You don't have a case covering it like this, and it falls. What do you think is going to be the impact?
It's gonna break.
Right?
It's going to be high.
So the impact is going to be high, or let's say moderate for this case. But when if I have a case on it,
Yeah.
and it falls, right, the impact is going to be moderate.
Yeah.
So here we are looking at, so when you take a system, okay, and something happens to the system, right, what would be the highest impact that your system is going to suffer? That is what we are interested in. It's not the low one, right? If it is low, it means that we are not going to have any impact, right? You can choose not to put any control. Remember, we talk about control. We talk about controls in depth later, right? So a system, right? The impact of a system, the highest one is what we are interested in. Something that can affect the system. Even though all these ones is low, 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 we are considering the highest one, not the low, right? But I think we should go on when we do the other factors. We have
Mr.
other ones to-
Just one question, Mr. Lex.
Yeah.
Could it be right to say that the contingency plan determines the highest impact?
No, we are not singling out an information type.
Yeah, because like what he asked before, it's still not clear how we determine. I don't understand how we determine that this is the highest impact. Like what you're saying, assuming you have a phone, you put a case.
Aggregation. It's an aggregation. We don't look at one, right? Forget, that's what I said. Somebody asked and I said, forget about the information type.
Okay.
As soon as you get all your impact levels, don't look at, I know contingency has moderate. Don't forget about that. Okay? Look at the impact levels here. Those are the ones that your interest should be.
Yeah.
So you take the confidentiality, what is going to be the confidentiality, impact to the confidentiality of the system as a whole? Not just the contingency plan or the debt collection. No, the whole system as a whole, right? So here we are saying that the confidentiality will be moderate. The integrity will also be moderate, and availability will also be moderate.
Okay. Let me say something, please.
John's hand up. Yeah, John, you've raised your hand for a long time. So it's on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask, the formula, why don't we have high in all this impact?
So listen,
Yeah.
we don't have high because the information type that was provided by the system owner, right?
Okay.
Right, that we set for, none of them contain high. Taxation, look at the taxation. When you touch taxation, it gives you the formula over here.
Okay.
Moderate, low,
and
none of them, the information type that we had, none of them talked about high. So you don't need to put high there. You only put what you see and next recommendation, that's all. Okay. So let's John, you have your hand up, then we continue. Otherwise, we'll not finish. As we go, it will be clearer. John, go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. I think I was gonna provide the answer for
Okay.
And I was gonna give like a typical example. I will break the example for people to understand.
Okay.
So you have a car, right? And you are to travel for like 10 miles. And you have let's take a three drunkards, right? One drunks have a shot, two have about 5, and the third one had about 20, right? What is the probability that the one who took about a shot will involve in a crash compared to the one who had about 20? You know, it's almost like the one who had about 20 will have the crash when you decide to drive, right? And it's like the who took about a shot will involve in a crash compared to the one who had about 20. You know, it's almost like the one who had about 20 will have the crash when you decide to drive, right? And it's like the one who is in the middle, who's about 5, would not have a crash. So basically, you're looking at the availability provided, and they said they provided about 3 cases right here, between the level of low and moderate. These are the results, and they say, okay, the probability that who had 1 will survive, it's higher than the one who took 5 shots. So it is not basically about you seeing under that row being for lows, but basically the one who had a moderate drink will not crash his car. Alex, I don't know if that makes.
Yeah, I think I understand your analogy. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
So, like I said, let's go on. This is just one example, and I'll give you an assignment to practice. So we'll do another example so it will be more clearer to you. So don't worry about that. Let's go on. Good. So what we said, right? If you see my slide, it said the highest impact level, either low, moderate, and high or high of the CIA becomes overall classification of the system as a high watermark, or some literature call it the highest watermark. So here, for confidentiality, we have moderate. For integrity, it is moderate. For availability, it's also moderate. So overall system categorization for the benefit system is moderate, right? Overall, this system is classified as moderate because that will be the highest impact level for the system. That is what categorization is about. Let's continue with the next one, right? I'm sure as we do, it will be more clearer to some of us. Those that we still having concern. Don't think too deep. Right? Don't think too deep. Just follow what I'm doing. It is very, very straightforward and very, very simple. Right. So let's look at another system. This system is called payroll system. Right. It's a payroll system that processes federal employee payroll, right? Their pay. So the system owner has given us information types that can be processed or that is processed, stored, or transmitted within the payroll system. Okay? So your work is as a security analyst, right? You take the information type that is given you. The first one is called debt collection. So I just copy it, Control C. Then I'm going to search for it from this publication. That's the NIST 860, volume 2. Debt collection. So debt collection information type, I click on that. You see debt collection information type. Security categorization is here. All that they're saying is that confidentiality is moderate, integrity is low, and availability is low. Right? So you come to your table, then fill it out based on what NIST is saying. Based on what NIST is saying, it says moderate, low, and low. Good. The next information type is user fee collection. So let's go and search for user fee collection. Hello, Nana. Your hand is up.
Can I tell you what that one is then?
Oh, very good. Yeah, you can tell me.
Low, moderate.
Low, moderate. Excellent. Thank you. Let's see what it has. Let's look for user fee collection. That is it. So, okay, Nana, you're ahead of it. Let me copy the link. I'll put it in the chat. What I said. Let me copy the link and let me put it in the chat so that those of you who also want to go along with me, you can. Thank you. Okay, good. So Nana was able to go ahead, which is good. User fee collection. Let's click on that and search for it. So user fee collection, confidentiality is low, integrity is low, and availability is moderate. Thank you, Nana. Right? Good. She got it. So we have low, and moderate. Good. Now let's look at federal asset sales. Who has tried Has somebody tried this one? Federal asset sales.
Yeah, I have, Alex.
You have it? Okay, Abby, what did you get?
Confidentiality is low, integrity moderate, availability low.
Okay, so let me put it in there and see. The confidentiality is low.
Yeah, low, moderate, low.
Low, moderate, low. Okay, let's see. So that is federal asset sales information type. Low, moderate, and low. Thank you very much. Right? So we have low, moderate, and low. Very good. Nitaki, I saw your hand up. Are you going to say the federal defense?
Yeah, so for that one, I have moderate, high, low.
Moderate, high, and low. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Let's see what comes up. Let's search for it. Legal defense. So legal defense information type. Legal defense information type. So we have confidentiality moderate, integrity high, and availability low. Right? So when we put in the formula, it's going to be moderate, high, and is it moderate or low?
Low.
It's low.
Low.
Okay.
Yeah.
Low. Very good. Very good. So we are done having all the impact levels. So now let's look at the confidentiality. Under the confidentiality, what would be the high watermark here?
Moderate.
I want somebody who hasn't talked. Okay, Sabria.
That one would be moderate.
It's going to be moderate. Do we all agree with her?
Yes.
Yes, it is moderate.
Yeah.
That would be the highest impact to the confidentiality of this payroll system. So what would be the highest integrity, impact to integrity? John. John, yeah, we can hear you.
Below.
Hello, John.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, I believe it's supposed to be low.
You believe it's going to be low. That would be the impact level. Julian, okay, that's John's suggestion.
It'll
Julian,
be high. You
it's
can hear
going
me?
to be high.
Yeah.
Okay, that is Julian. Fenton, what do you think?
It's going to be high.
High.
It's going to be high. Okay, the highs are taking it. Vincent.
Yes, it's going to be high.
Oh, okay. Vincent is getting it now. He's gotten it. Okay. So I see a lot of people are saying high. Can somebody tell me why is it the highest impact integrity is high? Integrity of the system.
Yeah, I think it's the highest impact level.
It is the highest impact. Okay, thank you. I see Ruth Solange. Why
Yes,
is it high?
because in integrity is the higher impact.
It is the highest impact. Okay. So I'm sure majority of us agree. So when you take the integrity of the system, the impact is high because there's one high over here. We always look at the highest impact, right? Then the availability, the impact will be what?
Moderate.
Moderate.
It's moderate. So now, let's see. We have the watermark is moderate, or confidentiality is moderate. Integrity is high, and the availability is moderate. So what would be the highest watermark for this particular system?
High.
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 High?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Do we all agree that it's high?
Yes.
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 It would be high.
Exactly. The answer is high. So in this case, when you are classifying the system, this system for payroll is classified as a high impact system. That is it. That is how categorization is done. So when you have an interview and they say, oh, the person, or when you get a job, you see a job description and they say the person should be able to categorize the system from the categorization level, it is very, very easy and straightforward.
Excuse me.
I'll give you an assignment for you to practice on this. Right.
Mr. Alex.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Can you expatiate on NIST? You know, how do we get all this the impact levels?
So, like I said, in the NIST, they have done the research, right? And they have given the guidance. OMB asked next that we want all federal government information systems to follow or to obey the personal law, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the NIST developed this guidance so that each federal institution will follow the process to be in compliance. So they have done the research and they have listed all the information types that is processed, stored, or transmit data in the federal environment, and they've listed them here, right? So the appendix here, they have all of them here. That when you take a federal environment, these are the information types that is processed. And they are saying that based on our research, right, these are the people who knows much. If you look at the publication and you read about the people who wrote it, they've done a lot of research and they are experts in this area, right? These are the names, right? And they categorize that, okay, any information type that you take, right, this is the impact level that we expect. Either it's moderate, low, or high. That is all. So you all, as a security analyst, that when doing that, we're going to go through that. During the kickoff meeting, the system owner will give you the information types. We are going to categorize the system, or this is a new system we are going to work on. This system processes financial data. It does this, it does that. All that you need is the list of information types, right? You do a table like this, right? Like what I just showed. I'm going to share this with you after the class, and I will give you an example for you to also practice. Then you just look at the information type, then you look at the formula, then you put them in. That's it. That is all that you're going to do. This is the simplest side of this area, right? Okay, one more question, and we move on. Otherwise, we are not going to finish tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, Fenton. Fenton, your hand is up.
Okay, I get it.
Oh, okay. Isaac, sorry, I put your hand down. Any questions?
Yes, what I wanted to say is because a lot of people have a question, I wanted to make bring other examples on board. Like a lot of people work from home, right? They work on a VPN, more encrypted system. So when you look at other contractors, because there's something called CISA, right? Which is a government institution. Now they are basically educating the public and small businesses to be aware of NIST document. Why are they doing that? They are doing that because they want them to be abreast with what they are doing. At the same time, they are also making sure that you understand their document, right? And then second, assuming like you gave example about tax collection, legal defense. In terms of, let's use a snow case as a example. What is the tendency of federal information being leaked into the outside? And that's the kind of the level, the impact, that has been described as an impact. What's the level, the chances of information being leaked outside? Is it low? is the company we are working with or the employee we are working with, are they reliable that we can depend on them? So that's how they have categorized, what do you call it, the risk level. So if that has been categorized, so your system is also linked to your system. Is our system we are working on, is it safe for our information to be stay intact? So that's just what I wanted to bring up.
Okay. Thank you, Ike. So, I mean, it's very easy. I wouldn't worry myself so much about the technicality, about why is it that Nick chose this to be moderate, this should. No, I'm not going to do that. Those are the experts. They said if it's taxation, like if it's taxation, confidentiality, moderate, so integrity, availability. That is all that I'm saying. Right? Don't worry about the technicality, right? Otherwise, you're going to run into problems, right? Because your role is an analyst. You're following what NIST is recommending. Good. So now let's look at detailed information about what goes on within the categorization phase. We've done the practicals, right? But there are some artifacts, right, within the categorization phase that need to be generated, right? So what we just did is called FIPS 199, right? But before the FIPS 199, what we just practiced, most of the times we start with a kickoff meeting, like a general meeting. The system owner will be there, the security analyst, the ISSO, the information owner or data owner, the authorized official, all those people will be there, right? And they will discuss about the system. Your presence there is to take note at that meeting. You're not supposed to do anything. But also before that meeting, they can ask you to send out emails to these people and invite them to a meeting and schedule a meeting, right? And there's a template. I gave you a zip folder. I have a couple of templates in there that can guide you to draft an email to those people, invite them to a meeting. So it's at that meeting that the system owner will give you the list of information systems that the system will process or the system will store or transmit. It's at that meeting. So after the meeting, you go to your desk. This is what you're going to do. You're now going to categorize the system, right, based on the information type that has been given to you, and that is what we just went through, right? So when you are done and you come out with the highest watermark, it is called, that is the first deliverable at the categorization step, right? Or phase. It is called FIPS 199 or system categorization. The deliverables are very, very important. I have one of my students, she actually recommended a couple of you to join this class, right? I'm trying to bring her to come and share her experience, right? And I told her, like, she was interested in this. I told her, look, just follow the deliverables. Follow the deliverables, present it to them, and you get a job. And it's true, she got a job, and she's been working for over a year now. Anyway, so that is the first deliverable, right? And that is done by using the 860 volume 2 and also the FIPS 199. FIPS 199 just gives you the formula like I showed you. Then there is a second deliverable for initial risk assessment report. Initial risk assessment report. And it is also straightforward. You're not doing anything at all. All that, you're not going to crack your brain and do something extraordinary, right? All that you're going to do is that federal environment has a list of potential threats, list of potential weaknesses or vulnerabilities. All that you're doing is they're going to select them as many as possible. And you can get it from the document that I gave you. Even NIST has them, right? The federal environment has it. You don't need to go and look anywhere. During last week Was it Saturday when we were doing the risk management? I gave you a document. Remember, it has when it takes like threats, it has a list of threats, it has this, they are all there. So you just have to select any threat that you feel it can have impact on the system, right? So conduct risk assessment to identify the information, to identify the information system, that is the threat, the vulnerability, the impact you got from the categorization already, right? Then the next one, risk assessment. This one is just a repetition of what we did last week, right? When you say risk assessment, it can be examination, it needs to be policies, observation, walkthroughs, interviewing, testing. These are just what we went through last week. Then risk assessment report, right? I have a copy in the folder, zip folder. Take a look at it. And your role in that risk assessment report is not like you're not the one going to describe the system. It is not your work to describe the system owner. System is liable to if you don't have proper air conditioning there. So you can select as many as possible that you think can have impact in the system, right? So there's a publication. There are publications that help with this risk assessment. So like I said, go to the zip folder that I gave you. I gave you a sample risk assessment report. Take a look at it, right? And it's every federal environment they have their own template, right? But that is an example of a template you can look at, right? And that risk assessment, initial risk assessment report becomes what? The second deliverable. It becomes the second deliverable. Then we have a third deliverable for privacy threshold analysis, PTA. Privacy threshold analysis is a third artifact in the categorization process. The purpose is to identify whether the system processes, transmits, or store any personal identifiable information, PI. So we talk about PI, if the system will be collecting names, addresses, phone numbers, social security numbers, passport numbers, driver's license, anything that can identify a person, right? So the PTA is done so that you'll be able to know, oh, okay, this system that we are going to use for payroll will collect people's information, right? So that's the PTA. Then if the PTA is positive, that is, it means that the system will be collecting PII. Then the next step is what we call privacy impact assessment or analysis, right? So privacy impact assessment, and that is to test what will be the impact if the system gets breached. What will be the impact to the people that we are collecting their information? And here it is not your work. It is the work of the privacy office or the legal team. They do this. But we are learning it because you may never know where you find yourself. They can ask you to help. Right? I've worked on PTA before. Right? So even though PTA and PIA is not our work, it's good we have knowledge about it if they ask us to help with it, right? So I work with the legal team to, basically my work was to listen and add on to whatever they will say to the document. So it's not your work. Good. So if PTA is negative, no PI is done, right? That is, if they do the privacy threshold analysis and the system is not going to collect any PII, means that we don't do PIA, right? PIA is just to test whether there will be an impact to the people, the information that is being collected. So the PIA is the fourth deliverable. So one, remember the first deliverable is the 5199, that is the categorization itself. The second one is the initial risk assessment. The third one is PTA, privacy threshold analysis. And the fourth one is the privacy impact analysis or assessment. Good. There's another one, the fifth one, called privacy threshold. Oh, sorry. Oh, I think I've gone ahead of what I was saying. Right. I just talked about this privacy impact analysis, right? And the purpose is to understand PI that is being collected if there be a risk to it, right? So we don't do PII if PTA is negative, that is, the system is not collecting PTA. But if the system is collecting PII, then we do PIA. And I said in most cases, PTA and PIA are the responsibility of the privacy department or the legal department. And security analysts can also handle this process, right? So if they ask you to handle PTA, PIA, don't say that you don't know anything about PTA. What is PTA? No, please, it is doable, and I'm there to help you. Good. So the next one is called System of Record Notice. System of Record Notice. System of Record Notice is generally required when a group of records maintain the federal system, records maintained by federal system contain PII, and that PII is retrieved by information unique to the individual whose PII is being retrieved. All that is saying that SON is like, I don't know whether some of us are familiar with what you call Gazette. Gazette. Maybe some people buy a property and they get it published for the whole world to know that, hey, this property belongs to Mr. A or Miss B, right? That is what system of record means. So it's basically the federal environment, they publish it that if you are coming to work with us, or if you are coming to access our system, that involves, let's say, your payroll services, we'll be collecting your PII. So we are letting you know that this is what we're doing for any system that we are testing on the federal environment. Do you have any objection? Do you have any contribution? Something for us to amend what something like that. So they give people, they publish it for people to give comments. And they mostly publish it for about 40 days for people to give comments. So every system within the federal environment must have a SON, right? System of record notice, especially if it is a high impact and moderate system. They must have SON. Or if the system collects PII, they must have SON. And this is also handled by the privacy department, right? Because they are the lawyers and they handle it. It's good we know about this as well. So there are some links about the SON on this that you may want to have more information about. If you want to have more information about it. Then the next one, the SON is the fifth deliverable. The SON is the fifth deliverable. Then the next deliverable is the sixth deliverable is called electronic authentication, or in short called e-authentication. And it is for systems that can be accessed remotely, right? If a system can be accessed wherever, just like immigration system, like the one that we go there to file registration or whatever, right? I don't know, I think it's called USIS or something like that, right? It is a web facing. Anywhere in your house you can access that system. Or even the IRS. You file your taxes, you want to check the status of your tax, right? There is a place that you go. That is a web facing. You can do that at your home, right? So that system must go through what we call e-authentication, electronic authentication. So the e-authentication artifact involves the following. One, they need to conduct a risk assessment of the electronic government system, right? So what will be the possible risk? What will be the possible vulnerability or threat associated to this web-facing system, where people can be in their house or be anywhere in the world. So the map identified risk to applicable assurance level. So within the federal environment, they have different assurance level. So they have level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 4 is the highest category, right? Level 4 is the highest assurance category. Then you select technology based on the e-authentication technical guidance. So it could be that, okay, depending on the type of information that the system processes, it can say that, oh, this is just a public information. Probably you just need only one factor. Just your email address and password is okay, right? They will determine, right? Or because of the sensitivity of this system, it's collecting your social security number. If you have tried a tax system before, anytime you log in, it sends you what? A code to your phone for you to verify before you get access to that information, right? That is two-factor authentication. Or depending on the type of system, it could be like maybe a DoD system that is highly and classified documentation. They will require different level of multi-authentication or multi-factor, right? Then validate the implemented system has achieved the required assurance level that it detects the controls. They periodically reassess the system to determine technology refresh requirements. That's a continuous assessment. So this particular side is also handled by a set of expertise with the people that we call them access and identity management, right? You may not be directly involved in this. So I know people may be like, why am I going to do this? No. Your key role here is that you are going to, if the system is going to be accessed remotely, you work with the system owner to identify the people who are in charge of access and identity, and they need to provide you this information, and they will give you a document that talks about the various assurance level and also the authentication method that should be used for the system, right? And that is also a deliverable, and that becomes the sixth deliverable, right? So I listed the assurance level here. Assurance level 1 is little or no confidential data. Level 2 is some confidential data. That is based on how the federal environment put the assurance level. Level 3 is high confidential. That should be used for the system, right? And that is also a deliverable, and that becomes the sixth deliverable, right? So I listed the assurance level here. Assurance level 1 is little or no confidential data. Level 2 is some confidential data. That is based on how the federal environment put the assurance level. Level 3 is high confidential or high confidence in accepted identity validation. Then level 4 is very confident in that question, right? So in the federal environment, level 4 assurance level, before you can use federal computer, you require something like a credit card. The code that is giving you, or like your pass card or the access card that is giving you, is like a credit card, exactly like credit card. It has your information. You have to insert that one in the computer before you can get access to a system, right? So if it is a e-authentication and you are working remotely, you would need that card to be able to to log in into a federal computer. Otherwise, you can just do normal browsing, but you cannot go into federal document where the documents are. That is the highest level of assurance. That is PIV. Example is PIV. So I talk about authentication to be a single, two-factor, or multi-factor, right? So it's a different team that handles this as well. So there is a document that I put in a zip folder. I don't expect you to read, just be familiar with it. But the most important thing is that when you take the categorization, right, you should know that any system that can be accessed remotely, they must have e-authentication, right? It must have a e-authentication document. Good. So I summarize it here. This is a very good, and I call it interview slide. Interview slide. So always categorization starts with a kickoff meeting where all the stakeholders come together to discuss about the system, to know the scope or the system boundary, authorization boundary. When you say authorization boundary, the scope within that the system will work, right? They discuss about that, the scope of protection for the system. They discuss that. Then they discuss they discuss information type that the system will be processing or transmitting or be storing. There, the system owner should be able to give you the list of information type, right? So when you get a list of information type, the first deliverable is 6199. That is what we did today. How to categorize based on information type that you receive. Look at the next document 860. You look for the various impact levels for the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Then at the end, you come out with what? Your highest impact, highest watermark. So that becomes the first deliverable. The second deliverable is initial risk assessment that you list possible threats and possible weaknesses that may be associated with the system. The third deliverable is PTA, privacy threshold analysis, is to determine if the system will deal with PII, that is personal identifiable information. That is third deliverable. And if PTA is positive, they go ahead and do what we call PIA. You're now going to test the impact by if the system should get breached, what would be the impact to the PII? The name that is collected, the social security numbers, the people address, what would be the impact? That is the PIA, right? Good. And that becomes the fourth deliverable. SON is developed if the system deals with PII, right? So SON is published for public comment, purpose for collecting PII, ensure accuracy, and how the PII is protected, right? And that is the fifth deliverable. Then we have e-authentication. That is, it is done if the system will be accessible remotely. And I said PTA, PIA, SON is done by the legal team or the privacy department. E-authentication is done by the expert in access and identity management. They do that, right? And your work as a security analyst is that when the categorization phase is complete, you should have 6 documents put together. That this is my categorization document. The first, the 5199, the initial risk assessment document, PTA, PIA, SON, and e-authentication. Put them together. That's it. You finish your categorization phase. So some of these job descriptions, they call federal environment security analysts, they call them documentation analysts. It's not like you're going to write something from scratch or something from the beginning, right? The documents are there, but what we're learning is that we should be able to understand that within this space that I am, these are the documents that I need to put together, right? Because you are the one working or in charge of the application, you should be able to know the type of documents you should put together for that specific application. And these are the documents that we look out for. These are the 6 deliverables. So if you get a federal job interview, you should be able to remember these 6 deliverables. And it will tell the person that you really understand the process, and that is what you are looking for. Any questions before we continue? These are some publications that I mentioned about. So these are all free publications online. Any questions before we move on to control selection? Control selection is also another straightforward part that we'll be doing. Any questions? Should I assume that everybody understands what we just discussed?
Well, we have to go through it and then see, and not that everything I've gone through at the same time, but then we have to go through them again and then I will look at
Don't
them.
worry, I'll give you an assignment. Begin to do it yourself, see that it becomes clearer. And if you don't get it, you call me, I'll explain it. Before Osman, I see Fenton, your hand is up. Oh, Fenton, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
No, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, okay, your hand is up, so okay, let me pull it down. Okay, Osman. Osman.
If you get a job as a categorization analyst or a documentation analyst, as you put it, so is it all you're going to be doing? You're going to concentrate on these 6 deliverables? That's all you're going to be doing in your lifetime?
No, this is just a phase 1. We haven't gotten anywhere.
Oh, okay. So you're going to probably be doing all the 4 levels.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Got it.
So we're going to do all the 6 phases. It's not everything that you do. Just that at this phase, I need this document ABC. So and the system will now be able to connect you to the right report to get those documentations together.
Okay. Got
it. A quick one before we move.
Just a quick one. You know, when you are asked what kind of platform or software you are using to analyze the information in the interview, what do you have to say?
You're ahead of it, so you relax. We get there. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about the platform.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I don't want to confuse people. I just want people to get this one at a time. First thing, is your hand up again, or just a mistake? Somebody is raising your hand all the time.
No, I didn't raise my hand.
It keeps going up and down.
I think you're raising it for me.
No, I put it down. It just came again. Right? Maybe somebody has hacked into your anyway, yeah. Okay, so let's go. Nobody can hack into us. So now that is it for the first phase. That is the phase 1 of the risk management framework. So the second phase is what we call security control selection. Right, and this is your work. Is that by your work? So somebody will say, is that all that we do, or it's yet to come? Right. So control selection. Let me go through a quick highlight. Then we'll zoom into the practical section because it's a lot. So that is the second phase. First one is categorization. Second one is the control selection.
Right. Hi, Alex. Yes. Before you move on, sorry, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
I don't know if it's a good question or not, but I don't know if I'm on the I'm the only random person here. You know,
No,
I'm
you're not.
learning this in Canada. So if someone is from Canada, then that would be good. The federal level,
Yeah.
my mind is all over the place. Does it mean it's just for the US federal, or it can be for the Canadians as well? Like, especially with the publications, where we used to find out the impact. Is it the same as for Canadians? Say if you get a job in the ministries or in the federal level, is it the same thing?
That's a good question. So for Canada federal environment, I haven't studied so much about how they follow, if they are following the same risk management.
Okay.
The publication is used all over the world.
Okay.
Listen, please check. I don't know why your hand keeps coming up and down. So the publication is like a grandfather for all information systems, like all organizations refer to the next document. It's such a very powerful documentation. So that is a challenge to me, Yvonne. I will do a research and find out from whether the Canadians also follow the same risk management framework.
Right. Okay.
Don't worry about that. If you know next what we are doing, right? All modules that we are going to cover becomes easier because this is the foundation of the education when it comes to the documentation. So that is what I can say. Are you okay?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Very good. So let's continue. Security control selection, that is the phase 2, right? Security control selection is the next step after the categorization, right? So when we did the categorization, when you do categorization, the highest watermark that we get is either high, moderate, or low, right? That these are the first foundation. So we are going to leverage on that highest watermark to select controls for the system, right? So some publications are very, very important here. We have PIPS 200. PIPS 200, I'll put that document, but it has not been updated. So most of the time, I don't reference to it, but let me pull it out. PIPS 200 has a list of control families. We call it a minimum security requirement. So it has a list of control families. So PIPS 200. I mean, it's just about 18 pages or so. I read. It's not easy at all. You search for it, you can go for the local version or the download version, the PDF. Here, just about 17 pages. Right. All that this document is telling you is giving you the control family. Has control families when you go down, minimum security requirements. It has a list of all the security requirements, and they try to explain what it means. So it has the first security requirement is access control. They call it AC. Awareness and training, AC. Audit and accountability, AU. Certification, accreditation, and security assessment. Since the name has changed, that is why I said I don't even like referencing this document because it's old, right? But there is one powerful document publication that we mostly reference or mostly use for this is NIST 853 Rev 5. It used to be Rev 4 just about 2 years ago that they published the Rev 5. That is the document that we use, and that is most current. And that document has all the current controls. Initially, the security controls were 18, but now when they did the update, they increased it to 20 of them. 20 of them. So NIST 800 800-53 or SP 800-53 Ref 5. The title is Security and Privacy Controls for Information Systems. When you click on that, you can get the local version here as well. And it is a huge document, very huge, very, very huge, about 500 pages, right? Yeah, about 500 pages. So this document has all the security controls that we need to protect an information system, a list of security controls. So this is a very tough, big document, very, very big. And in addition to the NIST, some document reference to SANS. SANS is an organization that they also do a research and is well recognized. Every year they come out with top 20 critical security controls. So even though the NIST is what we're going to use most of the time during the control monitoring, we look at top 20 as well, but we are not going to look at it now today. We're going to look at the 53 applications. So let's go on. So these are the 20 control families, right? So like we learn about controls. So controls are measures that we put in place, right, to mitigate risk. If you remember, we talked about procedural control, physical control, and administrative control. Sorry, and technical control. And I said procedural can also be called administrative control. We learned it on Saturday, right? So these are the controls, all the controls that can be used to protect an information system. So first one is AT, access control, AT, awareness and training, AU, audit and accountability. EA, this is where I was telling you the name has changed. If you take the fifth, that's what I'm saying, it's an old document. The 5200 call it certification, accreditation, and security assessment. But the new name is assessment, authorization, and monitoring. Right? The new name is assessment, authorization, and monitoring, by still having the CA code. We have PM, configuration management, EP, contingency planning, IA, certification and authentication, IR, incident response, MA, maintenance, MP, media protection, PE, and environmental protection, PL, planning, PM, program management, PS, personal security, PT is a new one that they added. It's called PII, process, personal identifiable information processing and transparency. RA, risk assessment, SA, system and service acquisition, SC, system and communications protection, SI, system and information integrity. Then a new one that they added is called SR, supply chain risk management. Right. So these are all the control families. Right. So I put here that just in case in an interview somebody asks you, so what are the new control families added to the added by the in the new publication 800-53 Ref 5? They are PII, processing and transparency and supply chain management. So just for yourself. Good. So security and privacy control structure. Base control section, it has base control section, discussion section, related control section, control enhancement section, and references. So if you take the control structure, it starts with the control identifier. Every control has its identification. AU, AU4, AU1, AC1, AC1, AC2. That is the control identifier. Then the control name itself. So when you take AU4, the control name is called audit storage capacity. Then it has a base control, right? Base control tells you what that is, as the name sounds, base. That is the simplest control you should follow, right? Then there's a place that organization puts their name there. Then there's a discussion that explains what needs to be done to fulfill this control. Then we have what you call control enhancement. Control enhancement means that you are adding more controls to make that control stronger, to support that base control, right? And they put some references here. Right? So this is just a high level about how the control looks like. So we'll take a look at it into detail. So don't worry, these are all just for your information, right? So that you understand when I'm talking about. I mentioned the control identifier, the control name shouldn't be new to you. Good. So the security control selected its term as system security control baseline. So we are going to, I'm just going through this and we'll do the practical and I'll explain it in detail so it becomes more clearer. So after the categorization, the security analyst is asked to select control. So what the security analyst does is what we call, when you select that control, we call it base control, right? And it is usually done in the form of a spreadsheet. That's what we're going to do. So the first copy of security control baseline is prepared by the analyst. When you see IA, it's information assurance analyst or information security analyst, right? And it's considered a draft. Whatever you're going to do, whatever we're going to learn right now is considered a draft until the ISSO, that's the Information System Security Officer, and the system owner have reviewed what you have done and agree that, okay, we accept everything is okay, then it becomes a document. But what you do is a draft. Then the next one is ISSO and the system owner will go through the document, the draft that you have done, the base control, right, the control baseline, and do tailoring. They will tailor the control. So, okay, this control is a common control, meaning that this control, we have like, let's say, a physical building, right? Physical and environmental control. The system is being hosted in a data center that manages so many systems, right? So that control becomes a common, meaning that control, having the physical and environmental control there is not only protecting your system, but it's protecting all the systems that the data center holds. So they will do that categorization. It's not your work. They will do those categorization and say, oh, this is not applicable to this system. Let's remove it. This is a common control, or this is system specific, especially for configuration management. This is how the system should be configured. System owner and the ISSO will do that, right? So we're going to do a practical, and I'll show you all this, how it is done. So I'll just explain this. Not applicable means the system, whatever control that you selected is not applicable to the system. No, we don't need it. They can remove it. This is a common control, right? Everybody, all the systems within the environment is using it. If they do training for everybody in your company, they're not doing specific training for you alone. They do all the training, HR training for everybody, right? So it's a common control for everybody. System specific, mostly with the configuration, how the system should be. Then there's a hybrid. Hybrid can be any of the two. It can be common and also system specific. So these are the terms that they use to do the tailoring. ISSO and the system owner will use to do the tailoring. Like I said, in the practical section, it will be more clearer, right? So we're going to do the practical session. It's very, very straightforward. Don't think so much, right? Just follow me in the process. So the first thing that you do is that you will recall the system categorization. So let me pull the spreadsheet. Can you see my spreadsheet? Right, I'm showing my spreadsheet. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Good. So when we did the categorization, for the first system, the benefit system, the highest watermark is what? Moderate. Right? The highest watermark is moderate. So that is a record that we want to recall. That after, that is all that you need, right? The highest watermark, right? Now, the next step is look for the control family in the NIST 853 Ref 5. So this document that I showed you, the NIST, right? The one that I said is very big, right? It has all the security controls. When you scroll down here, we'll come back to it, but it's a huge document. Very, very huge. We don't need it right now. Right? We don't need it right now. We'll come back to it. Right? If you look at the AC access control, they break it down into the ID, the name, the control name, the base control, the control enhancement. It's a huge document. We'll come back to it, not today. Right? But they give another publication. That is this publication. That is the name is 53853B. Right? We are going to use that publication to do the control selection. So I put it in the link here. Let me click on it. Let me click on this one. Open. Right? It's also a huge document, but it's not as big as the main 53. This is about 85 pages. This will help you to select the controls that we are going to practice now. So I'm scrolling down a little bit. Okay, good. You see the screen. I'm getting a feedback from you. I mean, you. Please, I'm missing everybody. If you want to talk, I raise now. Okay, so let me make this one bigger. Okay, I think it's better now, right? Good. So we can see this is the security control baseline that NIST is recommended. And if you look directly under the baseline, we have low, we have moderate, and we have high, right? And NIST is saying that when you do categorization and you come out with your highest watermark, right? You can use this to select your controls. So let's say the first system that we did, we have the highest watermark to be what? Moderate. So in this case, we are going to select security controls that are moderate. So in this case, we're going to look at this is the moderate. NIST is recommending that if the system categorization comes out to be a moderate, then look at the moderate column to select your controls. So they make some check marks over here, right? So you're going to select the corresponding controls for those check marks. So the first one, you have the control ID, the control name, right? That is this one. So the first under moderate is AC1. That is policy and procedure. So you just copy the AC1. This is going to take you a long time. So you don't rush to do this. So let's say we are selecting the controls, right? So we put a control ID here. Most of the time, those of you who are not familiar with the Excel sheet, right? You paste it in the formula part so that it makes it well organized. And what is the control name here? We come back to the document. The control name here is that policy and procedure. Copy, right? And you paste it here in the formula. right? Good. That is the first control selection. You selected your first control for the system that processes benefits. Let's go on. When you come here, that's the first one that we selected. That is this check mark. Now this check mark is AC2. You select that. Then you put it in your spreadsheet. So, okay. Then what is the name of this control? Account management. Selected account management. So I do control C, right? Then when I'm pasting, I make it control V just to paste it to be faster, right? I know some of us know about the old school. Now let's look at this one. The third one is also selected. We are not looking at the low, we are not looking at the high. Our concentration is on the moderate because that is what our system, the first system gave us, right? The benefit system. The highest watermark is moderate. So we are concentrating on only the moderate column, right? So we've done this one, we've done that one. The next one is AC21. So you copy the control ID. And like I said, this takes time. So we just practice in some few. Then we'll also have an assignment to practice on that. Then we have the next one is automated. The name is automated system account management, right? You copy that and you paste it here. For the sake of time, I used to convert it to the, just like all be the same, but for the sake of time, somebody posted, I'll look for it and post it in the chat. And for a formula to convert this into lower cases, right? But always just to make your work neat, you may want to have it all like the first two, right? But for the sake of time, just pasting them. Right? Then the next, so it means we just finished this one. The next one is this one. That is AC22. Copy AC22. Paste it there. And what is the name? The name is AC22 is automated temporary and emergency account management. And somebody will be wondering, like, I should understand all these controls. We'll come to that. Not today. So today, all that we're doing is we're just selecting the controls. Don't worry about understanding them. I'll show you, I'll give you an assignment that will help you to understand the basic ones that you meet them day to day. Now let's continue. The next one, so we just finished this one. The next one is this. That is AC23. AC23. So you put it over there, AC23. And what is the name? Go back to the document. It's disable account, right? So accounts that are inactive, you need to have that control over there. You have to disable those accounts, right? So at this point in time, you're not interpreting the controls. All that you're doing is you are selecting controls for that particular system. So this one, next one here that I see is AC23. AC23. Copy that. Oh, I've done AC23 already, sorry. So this is AC23. So next one is this one. Look at, I'm focusing only on the moderate. I'm not looking at the high or low, right? So moderate, I think I've done that. So this is AC24.
That's a 2-4.
Yeah, AC24. I'm just doing a few. If you want to do everything tonight, it will take us up to tomorrow morning. But the most important thing is understanding the concept, how the controls are being selected. That is the most important thing. So if you're following me, you would understand. Getting so much notice that I should stand up. I've been sitting for long, so let me stand. Good. So 8024 is automated audit action. So let me copy that. So I put over there automate audit action. Good. And the next one, this is done. I have this.
AC25.
AC25. Very good. AC25 selected. Then it's pasted over here. And you copy the name as well. So AC25 is inactivity logout. Says that if a system is idle for like 15 minutes, right, you should be able to log the person out. Right? For any moderate system, the system shouldn't be staying on forever. Right? If the system is inactive for 15 minutes, the system should be able to automatically log the person out. That is what it means. So if you are in a company, you use a system, within like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it goes off. When you come, you have to enter username and password. It is because of this control, and the system has been classified to a certain categorization. That is why it is happening that way. Simply.
Yes, my question is, do these controls apply to all the information systems? Like, do they apply to, systems dealing with HIPAA, systems dealing with credit cards and all that? Do they cut across the board?
Come to that. Don't think about those areas for now. We are going to go into each of them into detail. So we'll come there. For now, I want you to give me all your attention on federal environment.
Oh, okay.
But when we get there, you see that they all have their own set of controls and how it is done. So that is where I want you to go. For now, just be with me, bear with me to understand the federal one, okay?
Okay.
We'll come there. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Question.
Yes.
Okay. Is it a hand raise or is it automatic hand raise?
No, that's a magical hands.
I don't know what is happening. Okay, Vincent, do you have a question?
You said?
Oh, I thought you have a question. Okay.
No.
Let's go on. Good. So now we have selected all the marks over here. What about this place? There's no mark. Does that mean we should select that one too?
No.
No, that is right. So all the empty places, we leave them blank. And we go to the place that there's a check mark. So when all these places are empty, there's no check mark. So we jump all the way to AC 213. Right? So you only select where there is a check mark, right, under the impact level. In this case, we are looking at a moderate impact level for the first system. The name here is Disable Account of High Risk Individual. So it says this control says that if you identify a high risk individual, somebody who is highly risky to the organization, disable the person. Like, don't let the person continue to have access to the system or to the environment. Disable that account, right, for any moderate system. And here we have another one here, which is AC3. AC3, and the name is Asset Enforcement. Asset Enforcement. So AC3, put it over there. And the control name is Asset Enforcement. Copy Asset Enforcement and put it there. Right. So, for the sake of time, we are not going to select everything. We can't. Right. So here you can see that there's also a blank all the way to down here. That is AC4. So AC4, you select AC4. Let me finish up with AC4, right? Then we'll select a different control for the highest watermark that we had. AC4 is information flow enforcement. Information flow enforcement, because it's part of the moderate selected, right? Good. So, yep. Good. So that is it. So somebody will ask, why are we not selecting everything? That's what I said, we will not finish for today. But in the real world, when you are selecting the controls, you need to do it for controls. So you start from the AC, you select, you keep on selecting the ones that within the moderate column, depending on the highest watermark. Keep on selecting with the corresponding ID and the name. You select all the way to the last control, which is SR, supply chain. Right? Supply chain is huge. So you can imagine you don't do this in one day. You take your time, you select the controls one by one, one by one, one by one. To the last control, which should be the SR. SR. Good. So to the last control, this is SI. The supply chain is here. So for that moderate, if we are selected from the top coming, the last control that we select will be this one, SR12. That is component disposal. Right? So for the sake of time, we cannot select all, right? But let's try and select some controls for the system B, right? System B, we had a high watermark, right? So what do you think, which area are we going to focus when we see this document?
The high area.
High watermark, right? It means that we are going to focus on the high impact alone. We are not going to look at the low, we are not going to look at the moderate. We are looking at the high watermark. So for this system, let's pick any of these areas, right? So let's say we are picking, let's pick IA, this very one, right? IA controls, right? IA is identity and authentication, right? So for high, so let's try and start with IA controls. So here we have a check mark here. So it means that IA1 is part of it. Select IA. We are just trying, so I just pick any of these control families, okay? I'm not starting from the top, right? But in the real world, it starts from access control to supply chain risk management. So always remember that, but for the sake of the practice, I'm just selecting any of these controls. So here we are trying it for the next system, that is the payroll, let's say payroll system. Payroll system, and we are using IA controls. I think the previous thing we used CA. Now let's use IA controls, right, for this system. So the first one is IA1 that we saw, it is under the high, IA1. And we go back and copy the control name. That is always the one is policy and procedure. That is another quick, short way to learn those controls. The one starts any time you see one is the policy and procedure. So here we're talking about identity and access control policy and procedure. Then you can see high here. So that's A2. IA2 is selected. Let's put it in here. IA2. The name here is identification and authentication. That is organizational use it, right? Copy that, and you paste it here. Number two, sorry, the next one is this one, number 3, IA21, right? Anytime you see 21, 23, the 1, the 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, those are control enhancements, right? Means that an additional control to support the main control, right? All that they are saying is that for any identification and authentication user organization, use multi-factor authentication to privilege accounts. So we'll learn about the controls. I just feel like explaining a little bit about these controls. Good. And the next one is oh, please just give me a second. I think I have some items outside. I heard some sender. So let me pause the video. So the recording is in progress. So we are doing the high controls, right? And we are on the third one that talks about multi-factor authentication and accounts to privileged accounts. When you say privileged accounts, these are accounts that are like they have administrative access. It says that any system within organization that requires administrative access, right? Make sure you use multi-authentication. Number 4, it said that is here, the 4th one is selected. That is IA22. Select that one as well. You put it over there, IA22, the control enhancement. And it also has a name here. It says multi-factor authentication to non-privileged accounts. This non-privileged account to always also consider multi-authentication. That is normal account, right? They are proposing that you consider multi-authentication. Here we can see that this is blank, we jump. So here we have another one here. So that is IA25. Select IA25. We put it over there. IA25. Check the name here. Control name is individual authentication group with group authentication. Right. So we put it over there. Good. Next one. We can see that nothing is selected over here. We jump, nothing is selected. This side is selected. And the corresponding number is IA28. IA28. We put in here. Then the name. That is access to account. That is replay resistant. Copy that one as well. We put it in. I'm just trying 1 or 2 in addition, then we can finish for today. Here, nothing is selected, nothing is also selected, but this side is selected. Remember, we are only focusing on the high control for the payroll system, right? So put the control ID there. That is IA212. And the name is acceptance of PIV credential. PIV credential. Can somebody see a trend over here based on the controls, either moderate, low, moderate, and high? Can you see any trend? If you look at it very carefully, you see a trend. Okay, so here there's nothing selected. Down here, something is selected. That is IA3. So I'll end with the IA3 here. If you look at it critically, you can see that the high has a lot of control. Right? So this is telling you that if a system is a high system, right, a high impact system, you need more security controls to protect the system. If a system is a moderate system, you may need some level of controls, but if it is low, right, you can see that the controls are not as many as that of the moderate and high. Right? That is the fact. You can see here some controls are selected here, but for moderate, nothing is selected, or no, nothing is selected. So by the time you finish selecting all the controls, you see that you have a lot of controls that is selected, right? Good. So that is how the control is selected. Let me go back to the spreadsheet. So when you finish selecting all the controls, please remember I'm saying that we are selecting few of it because of it's just a training. But in the real world, you select starting from access control to the last control, that is a control family, that is the SR. Right? So always remember you select up to the last one. So that is it. And when this is done, okay, all these things, the controls that you selected, that is what we call baseline. Right? It's a baseline control, right? That is what NIST calls it, right? When you see the top here, security control baseline. That is a baseline, right? That I said, at least if you don't have any control, depends on the impact level of your system. These are the baseline controls that must be there, right? And at the end of everything, when you finish, then the system owner and the ISSO are going to do what we call tailoring, right? They are going to say that, okay, the controls that you have selected here, this is a common control, policy and procedure. It covers all the controls over here, so that is okay. Privilege, two-factor for authentication, two-factor authentication for non-privileged. Or non-privileged, we don't really need two-factor. Let's say that this is not applicable. We don't really need it. It's not applicable to this system. Okay, this is access to account replay. Okay, this is a hybrid. They will do that. It is not your role, right? You will do all your work is to do this control selection, give it to them the baseline, and they are going to do the tailoring, right? Good. So we have done the control now. Now let's finalize it, right? So under the control selection, two deliverables are delivered here, right? Remember, the categorization has 6 deliverables, right? But control selection, only 2. The first one is the control baseline, the draft, the one that we just worked on. That is the control baseline, right? Then that is the draft, right? The draft, sorry, the baseline draft, that is the first deliverable, the one that you do the analyst work on. So CNA or the security analyst provide a draft of the security control baseline to the ISSO and the system owner for review. When you are done, you give it to your system owner and ISSO, they will do the review. So the ISSO and the system owner identify common controls, system specific, hybrid controls, and are controls that are not applicable to the system. That is their work. They have to do that. So as they do the selection, this is a high and this is a common, this is a hybrid, this is a system specific. That process is called tailoring of control, a security control baseline. So that tailoring becomes the second deliverable. That is the work that the ISSO and the system owner does becomes the second deliverable, right? So final security control baseline is created after the system owner and the ISSO review and tailor the security control baseline. So that final document is what we are going to carry to the next stage, which we are going to do coming Saturday. Implementation phase, then also testing authorization, right? Any question before we walk through the assignment for today? What we have done, I'm going to give you some assignments to practice, right? Because the practice makes a man perfect, and that is even going to help you understand what we have done clearly. Any question for me? Let me search for the assignment. I'll project it right now. Oh, what is Christ? Does that mean that everybody understands what we have done today?
Yes.
Go and digest it.
Yes, to an extent. I'm just saying that when we go through the assignment, that's when other questions will pop up. That's when we know if we are getting it or not.
I agree. Yes. So that is why it's good for us to practice, have an assignment. So I'm sharing a document now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I just shared a document now. And my mouse. Oh. Where is it? Right here by.
You're sharing the chat.
Again?
I said you're sharing the chat.
I'm sharing the chat?
Yeah. What kind of document do you want to share? I'm not seeing any.
It's a spreadsheet. I don't know how it got to the chat. You mean chat?
The system. What's this? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to share. But I think personally, like my mouse has, when I put it up here, move it, the mouse is
okay.
Anyway, okay. So this is an assignment I'm going to give to you, right? Anyway, I can't see it. So this is an assignment I'm going to give to you. So if you look down, if you look at this document, let me minimize it. Okay, so this document down here, if you see the down here, right, the down part of the document, you can see I've written cut and control selection. Can you see that? Then there's a test plan.
Yeah.
My mouse is not moving, so I can't see. There's a test plan, right? Okay, let me remove the mouse and reinsert. Give me a second. Okay. That'll make the work now. So the same. Okay, so you can see at the bottom over here, there's a test plan, there's ST&E, there's a star, there's a point. Please don't touch that place, okay? The only part we're going to do is that I have information, the system ILG. So I'm giving you a system called ILG, right? This system, I want you to categorize the system, right? Categorize the system, look for the information type of corrective action, budget execution, contingency planning, debt collection, and taxation, right? So fill out the space. So you need to do that for the confidentiality, right? For the confidentiality, for the integrity, and its impact, availability and its impact, right? Then when you are done, do the watermark of availability, integrity, and confidentiality. Then come out with the highest watermark, like we did. And when you are done, continue to select controls for contingency plan. So I put a link over here. You just have to click on the link to take you to the publication. I'll put another link for the information type, that is NIST 800-83, 800-80-60 over at the top there, so that it can take you straight to the publication, right? So when you click on the link, it will bring you to this chart, right? But I want you to, I'm not asking you to start from access control to the last control. That is going to be too much for you. I'm not asking you to do that. But I want you to, based on the highest impact that you get, do control selection for only CP, right? CP is contingency planning, right? So scroll to the document and look for contingency planning. The PM, there should be contingency.
You need to go up.
It's up.
It's up.
Very good.
It's 2 points.
Yeah, good. So I don't know what you're going to get, even though I know it, right? But if you do your categorization and you get the highest impact to be moderate, right? It means that the controls that you're going to select is going to be all the controls under the moderate column. If there is happen to be, if it happens to be high, then the controls must be at what? The controls that is selected must be that of high. Sorry. I don't know what is happening to my mouse. Okay, right. So depending on the highest watermark that you get, you select the controls that is corresponding to it. So I'll share with you what we have done for tonight, right? So that it will serve as a guide when you are doing it, right? I'm going to share this with you, right? So that it will be a guide. Then you do your own and select controls. Remember, I've had other class that I told people to select only one control, but if you can do, if somebody was able to do everything, that is fine. I don't mind. But I mean, it's not being able to do everything that is important, but understanding the processes and why you are selecting specific controls, but not the other controls. That is the most important one. So when you are done, you share your assignment with me. I'll put some instruction how to share the assignment. Most of the time, if you send it to my personal email, I'm able to check on my phone, and I'll give you feedback as quickly as possible, right? I'll give individual feedback. Then next coming Saturday, we'll all take a look at it again. So please make an effort to practice it, right? If you're doing it, you get some place that you're confused, call me. Hey, Alex, I'm doing this. I don't know how to approach it. I'm confused. What do you think? Call me. I'm more than happy to help you, put you on track, right? To make the effort to do it, it is very, very straightforward. Don't think so much, right? Just follow the process and you should be good, right? Any questions for the assignment? And it is due by Friday night, 10 p.m. Central Time. So from today is Wednesday, you have tomorrow and the whole of Friday, so Friday night. So when you finish, send it to me. I'll take a look at it and give you feedback. Any questions so far? So this assignment, I'm going to share this with you and with what we did. Like I said, please don't touch the test plan, the down one. STNE, STAR, and the poem. We are here to do that. Don't touch it. Okay. Today we've done only the categorization and control selection. That is the only thing that I want to find. Any questions before we end for today? Okay. So if there are no questions, we are going to end today. I'll share this, what we practiced today in class with you and the video as well. And also I'll give you the assignment. So like I said, practice. If you get somewhere you're confused, right, you can go back and watch the video or give me a call and I'm more than happy to be your guide. Thank you so much, and please reach out to me. And I'll be getting in touch with you individually. If I call you, I'm calling you for a purpose to discuss things one-on-one. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
you have
Good night.
everything. I'll give you the slide.
Thank you.